Who made that?
Oz did.
I never felt so free in the choices of my life.
Hello.
Wow, you got that cue.
I did. I didn't
job.
need the cue. Yay. Welcome to the Accidental Activist. I'm Chandamasta, the serious blonde. Oh, I got to turn my music down. Sorry, guys. Let me introduce my guests tonight. I have Oz LaFave and Nick. Nick, how do I say your last name?
First name is
Nate. I'm sorry.
Nate. Last name is Prudhon.
Prudhon. That's what I thought. I just didn't want to mess it up. So some of you
thank
may
you so much.
recognize the voice of God, Nate. He has been guesting with us and helping us produce the Daily Dive. So a lot of you have heard his voice before, but you're seeing his face for the first time tonight. So welcome, Nate, to
I'm excited to be
Echo
here.
Media.
Nice.
Very excited to be here.
So you guys, I know you tuned in thinking I was going to have Georgia Davenport, who is running for the House of Legislators in Washington State, District 7, and founder of Whole Washington. But unfortunately, she has a little bit of some allergies. So we're just going to push that show off till next week. The show's ready to go. It's going to be an excellent show. But tonight, these guys popped on just to help me cover some current events and just talk about things that nobody's really talking about in light of everything that's going on in the world. So let's see. Oz, we're gonna roll with Bernie. Has everybody heard Bernie's back? Bernie, yay. Nate, I see your Bernie signs.
He didn't go anywhere, I don't think, but I'm glad to hear him finally getting back out,
Right.
In the public more so.
I was afraid he was locked in the basement with Biden. But I don't think he is. So once we get that clip up, we're going to roll.
It's up and ready to roll, man. We're ready to roll.
Bernie does an amazing job of ripping Mitch McConnell. So
all right, let's watch Bernie rip Mitch. There's no song lyric in that.
The American people are demanding to know what their government is doing in response to these crises. Crisis after crisis after crisis. And what is the leadership here in the Senate doing? And tragically, Mr. President, the answer is nothing. Nothing. Historians have suggested that in the year 64 AD, while Rome was burning, the Emperor Nero played his fiddle. At least he did something. He provided entertainment to his court. But here in the U.S. Senate, Republican leader McConnell and his leadership team are doing nothing. Sadly, tragically, this is the worst do-nothing Senate in modern American history, and every member of this body should be deeply ashamed at the degree to which we are failing our constituents.
You gotta love Bernie Sanders' flat delivery there. I mean,
yeah, so we got this clip from Emma Vigeland. You can go over there and check her out. She does a great commentary about it. But, I haven't seen much from Bernie lately. Has anybody else?
Nope.
Nate, have you?
It seems like he's been kind of operating in the background, pushing Joe the way he needs to go, is what it feels like. But it is great to see him out.
No, it is great. It's great to see Bernie out. And the fact that he compares us to Rome burning, boy, that was pretty powerful for me.
At least he played a little flute to entertain his court. Technically Trump is entertaining some people, but to Bernie's point, yeah, it's a devastating time for a lot of people.
Yeah, Trump's entertaining if you like a horror show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's entertaining if you don't mind ignoring the people he's gassing. Like, if that's entertainment to you, like if you don't mind him
and locking in cages.
Exactly. Descending from golden staircases, there's a long history of garbage man.
Well, you guys are being too hard on Dandy Don now. Come on. He's not that bad, is oh, never mind. Sorry. He is that bad. What can I say? I like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, there you go. One of our favorite.
He's had at least one webcast every day, Randy says. So yeah, he probably has, and I know that he has had meetings, and he's gone live from a lot of events. Had his channel go live. So yeah, Bernie's still out there, but it's good it makes my heart sing when I hear him, and it's like, okay, Bernie's still, he's still there. It just calms me.
Yeah, his actual voice is
right
beyond his influence and the fact, he's still a senator. But yeah, his actual voice on the job, speaking truth to actual power, Mitch McConnell, what a
right.
Garbage.
I just wish he would be saying that to the other side of the aisle too, because they're just as disgraceful to me as the Republicans. So Oz, what do we got lined up next? We've got the Convo Couch. You guys, I want you to go listen to watch the whole 25 minutes of this clip, but we're going to play a few minutes here and there and talk about it. We love the Convo Couch here. They totally speak truth. They are so engaged. They're on the ground. They understand because they're seeing with their own eyes what's going on. And I just think they kill it in this clip. So we're going to pause this one at 3:20 Oz, and then we'll chat about it.
You got it.
So Kshama Sawant is somebody I really admire, that I really love. I literally want to go to Seattle tomorrow to just organize with her, because she's freaking amazing. And she's doing a lot of great community work. And she's one of these type of activists. And she's a city council member who have a really good sense of what's happening on the local level. And they also have a good sense on how to grow it on the macro level, how it can affect everything else, right? She took on Amazon. She's taking on the police right now in Seattle in ways that are unprecedented. So Common Dreams wrote a great article of hers. So the Geneva Convention pretty much says that you cannot gas peaceful protesters. Tear gas has a lot of chemicals. A young woman died
pretty much
2 days after being tear gassed. I mean, we don't really know if that's 100% the cause, but it has a lot of chemicals that affect people negatively. I mean, Tina was tear gassed as well. It's really, you feel like you're going to die. You can't breathe. And the police were supposed to follow an order that said, no, you cannot tear gas these people, and they completely broke it, and they started tear gassing. And among them, of course, was Kshama Sawant. She was there fighting with the people. And so now she's telling the Seattle mayor that he needs to step down, because this is unacceptable.
Oops.
Right? And the Seattle mayor had promised that the law enforcement would stop deploying the tear gas, but then they didn't. And she said this is a wild abuse of power. And here is a little video of what they were doing. Let's just play a little bit of that video.
Protesters are throwing things back. There's a table right now. This is what's being just looked into the street right now.
It's a peace cloud.
And you wonder why the residents took to the streets to protest.
People are trying to kick it back.
It's prayer smoke.
Looks like a battlefield. There's no way that that's what it should
Oh
look
my
like
God.
when there are
I haven't
peaceful
seen that.
protesters. And that reminds us of what happened here before the ACLU and other protesters started suing the police. That's when they started backing up, because they came in here all gung-ho with the military, with their military grade weapons, with their tear gassing, with their rubber bullets. They came in all gung-ho, and they thought they were going to have no consequences, but the people fought back. The ACLU fought back. In this case, Kshama Sawant, it's a city council that is primarily very leftist. She is a socialist. She's not even she's a full-on socialist. Yeah, definitely a populist. And she demanded that Durkin Google the Geneva Convention to know what tear gas is all about, and citing the international protocol ban on using the chemical weapon on civilians. She was among those gassed and attacked on Sunday. So she wants him to resign. And she talked about this. This is shameful. This was a 30-day tear gas pause. It's totally meaningless. So again, they didn't respect their own law that they passed. It's absolutely ridiculous. And there's another one here by the New York Times, a little video right there that we can play.
Yeah, you can go ahead and cut it there. So she's talking about Kshama Sawant, socialist alt city councilwoman for Seattle, and the tear gas that, they rained down on that community. and what they're actually, Shama has proposed a ban. They're taking it to the city council. I want to say Monday night they're going to vote on it, is what she just posted. And they're going to ban chokeholds and tear gas altogether. Nate, you live over there closer than I do. What are you seeing over there?
Yeah, that used to be that was my old neighborhood. I was actually watching Shama Sawant had a live video stream that I was watching that night, and I didn't end up watching until she happened to get gassed. But I saw late enough to where they were peaceful protesters walking down the street. The police said a few different times, why are you advancing on us? If you are supposedly peaceful, then why are you walking toward us? We've been here and not moved. You have moved toward us. It is kind of like some schoolyard tactics. Like, we were here first, with no realization that the people walking toward them are paying their salaries and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But also props to Chase Burns of The Stranger. He got the best. I hadn't seen that video yet, but I saw some images from it, and that's gonna quite excellent photojournalism there. If nothing else, great images of not only war crimes, as they were saying, but also, like that clip was saying, going right against Mayor Durkin had said the day before, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
And so how is her police why are they even bringing that to work? If the boss's boss said yesterday, this is not an option anymore, you don't put that in your little fanny pack or, whatever it is. Like, right. So,
right. Yeah, she they're in California. They're in Southern California. So she says she thinks that Durkin is a male, but of course we know Durkin
patriarchy. That's because she's just been grown up
right.
in patriarchy.
We exactly, and that's been ingrained in us our whole entire lives, So Dingo Ate My Baby says they're effing gassing COVID for the sake of the people. Maybe, we never know. I don't underestimate anything that the establishment does anymore.
On Uphill Media, you can come on and get your comment right on air.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Melissa, I agree with you on this. If you go watch this whole entire clip, the next few seconds of this clip is actually the shooting that happened in Seattle at the protest, which is great video too. I think all these videos were taken by Jessica Frost, who lives above one of those buildings there. And so she has all of her cameras facing outward to where she's getting the entire block out there from 6 different angles. But I agree that Pasta was way off the mark when he was talking about the Paula Jean in West Virginia primary.
Yeah, I remember that.
Ojeda.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying that people in West Virginia want to support Ojeda because he has a stronger foreign policy. And come on, people in West Virginia, I've been to West Virginia. I was an opiate addict at the time. I wasn't in the state 10 minutes and I had scored. And then I know how those people live. I lived with them and for a long time, and this was a long time ago, to 10 years ago, but they were in the throes of the opiate epidemic then. And to say that they're thinking foreign policy, they're not thinking about fucking foreign policy. I promise you, they are not. They are so oppressed, these communities. And, you should know your family's from that area, right? Kentucky?
My mom is from Kentucky, yeah. And I actually had a girlfriend from Virginia also. So it's all kind of, I don't know, all these experiences. It's a different place. And I was actually thinking about that earlier today on the Daily Dive when they were playing a clip of the chief over there. He was talking about the shield not being tarnished or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's such a caricature. And it reminded me that, I don't know, perspective is a big deal.
It is. It really
I didn't mean to take you off on a different tangent either.
No, you didn't. Actually, Melissa did. But that's okay because
Melissa,
what? We love you, Melissa. And Melissa's there every day, all the time for us. So we'll talk about things she wants to talk about. The cops think they don't have to answer to the government. No, Melissa, they don't think they have to. And,
true.
I heard somebody say if we'd sent the police to Afghanistan, we would have won that war a long time ago.
Jesus.
Today. I thought, oh, my God, that's funny because it's true. So, Oz, you're being awful quiet up there.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to hold back because that clip, to turn one of our major cities into what optically was a war zone, it pissed me off beyond reckoning. I mean, that is a disgrace to our democracy. That's truly a disgrace. That's absolute bullshit. And whoever's in charge of that whole thing should be fired immediately. So Durkin better get off her ass and fire whoever gave that order with the tear gas. Obviously, they're not listening to the mayor, and she better figure it out real quick because it's getting out of hand too fast. And we don't want to set an example, and we don't want to make it so optically intense that Trumpy sends his trumpettes and invades Seattle. So again, that number one, I'm just enraged looking at that video. That's just absolutely ridiculous. And here we go again, like the Ojeda thing. I'm all about policy, on reading the room. But moreover, it's about the policy. Now, you're going to appeal to different demographics all over the place, whether you're in Virginia or in Idaho. But your best bet is to stick to your guns on policy. Sorry for the metaphor. And get behind it. And populist policy is what we are being denied of now by the neoliberal Democrat establishment, and certainly by the corporate Republicans. So both parties are failing us. Now let's step up and do something about this goddamn shit. It's out of control and it's bullshit. And anybody wants to argue that point, they can come right here on your show. We'll give them a platform until we give them the hook and get them out. But I want to see somebody argue that point.
Woo, we got Oz all fired up tonight. He's
Oz
up on
is
his
scaring
soapbox.
me.
Yeah, is he scaring you? That ain't nothing, honey. So, Oz, you got so riled up, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I'm just getting warmed up here.
Yeah, we were talking Shama Sawant. I'm sure it'll come back to me when we're on the next clip. So let's move ahead to the 4:45 mark on this clip. And this is the part that really got to me. Like, okay, now this I totally agree with.
Oh, I did want to put a button on that last thing. The Mayor Durkin and Chief Best, those guys better clean it up.
It's the chief. Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. What's her name?
Both those guys.
It's a female, the new chief of police.
I was making a joke about that other.
Oh,
I didn't know that the
Carmen Best, I believe.
I didn't know that the chief was female, Latino female.
Oh, okay. She's beautiful too. Like she's like the chief of police in Seattle is like a hot mama. Like fake eyelashes, perfect makeup. Like
not a part of the job description.
I'm like, God damn, I could have been a chief of police.
Oh, you damn beauty.
We still have some work to do for women in this country, I think.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And I'm not putting her down for the makeup and all that, but it's not. You don't see a woman like that very often in that position. Normally, if you do, then they are more, of a manly type. She's a
beautiful badass. She's like a feminine.
She's a beautiful badass. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I want to see her be tougher. She could have told those.
I want to see her do a better job.
Yeah, that's it. Bottom line, take some of that beauty and make it a beautiful job, not just optics. All right,
she really does try to reach to the people. I do see that in her. So yes, we're gonna roll this clip.
Another thing Kashama was talking about was the peaceful multiracial General Assembly outside of Capitol Hill. This battle was won by the protest movement. We need to build on it immediately and peacefully escalate to win anything substantial like defund the police by 50%. Public meeting to discuss strategy tomorrow at 6 p.m. Call Anderson. This right here is brilliant. And let me tell you why. She's an organizer, but she's also a politician, and she's an activist. She's on the streets with the people right here. And she's going and taking that and saying, okay, this is what we just did. We're winning. Tomorrow we're going to meet and we're going to follow up on how to make this happen. So she's taking the activism into the city council and trying to make this law. And that is something that is so difficult to do. I mean, let me put out AOC, for instance. AOC, for example, is a congresswoman who, instead of doing what Kashama is doing, by the way, AOC has millions of more followers than Kashama. And this is how you know Kashama's doing the work. She's not on Twitter all the time talking about how Republicans suck. She's literally on the ground with the protesters and then taking this back into her local community. That is what AOC should be doing.
Yeah.
Instead of placating to the establishment, Kashama's like, oh, yeah, no, we're going to do this our way. We're going to go in the streets and then we're going to take it into the community. That is what I need to see from people like the squad.
Yeah.
That is what I need to see.
Can I tell you something? I'm going to give you a little forecast of 2024 presidential race. Ready? Kashama Sawant will be running with the Green Party for president with Ajamu Baraka as her vice president against the Democrats Mitt Romney and Kamala Harris against the Republicans Liz Cheney. And to be determined who else will be the guy. I think the congressman with the patch on the eye, the ex-veteran from North Carolina. I forget his name. He will be the Republican vice president. I think he's been on Joe Rogan before as well.
Dan Crenshaw, is that who he's talking about? Oh no, Crimshaw's terrible. Far right, radical, crazy guy. Yeah. So I love how
Cheney too. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. Look, I like the Jamu Braku and Shama Sawant, but that's about it. So this clip, I love how she's recognizing. You know, I've worked on the outskirts of Shama. I've worked with Shama for many years now. And she's absolutely right. Shama is a boots on the ground type of organizer who takes the grassroots action and she transforms it to legislation and, you know, things that they can pass at the city council level. And really, absolutely, we have to start in our own communities at these small levels, city council, county commissioners, in order to change what's happening in our communities and you know, push upwards. And I think that's what she's recognizing. What do you think, Oz?
I just want to go back to Pasta's prediction for her running in 2024 and the Green Party candidate. I think she'll be the lead on the ticket. I think the whole dynamic of our society is going to change so much in the next couple of years, maybe 3 years, that you're going to see the people say, we cannot survive this. We need somebody who is strong, who's going to step up and who's going to lead, and they're going to get sick and tired of the duopoly, and there's going to be a social revolution, and hopefully a lot of it's going to be peaceful, but not all of it. And that's my prediction. Other than that, I don't think Pasta's even close with his other predictions. But yeah, Kashama's got she's got the right stuff to be a leader. And a lot of people, a lot of cozy, comfortable, privileged people, no matter how poor they are or think they're not, don't get it yet. But they're going to get it. They're going to get it right in the ass with a big foot here, and it's coming starting in August. It's coming.
The problem with that is that, like Jayapal we were talking about earlier, Shama wasn't born in this country either, so I don't think she'll be president soon.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. She was born in India, so that's one that we, darn.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I should know that too.
But the point is, though, she is still an organizer first and politician second.
Now was born in America.
Now let me ask you something, Nate. Can she be in the president's cabinet?
I would think so. Okay. I mean, I think that. I'm no scholar here. Legally, I think that vice president would work, but to sell that on the ticket, would not be.
I don't know why that would work as VP.
No, I just mean legally. I don't think. Like I said, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if you have to be born in this country to be vice president.
What about Secretary of State?
I think you do. I think that you do for vice president or president.
But Secretary of State. Anybody that can take over the role of president because of what happened. So I know it's what the president, then the vice president, then the Senate Majority Leader. Is that right?
The whole chain of succession.
The whole chain of succession. So I don't know. I'm gonna look that up. But again, I think the paradigm's going to change so much that you're going to see a radical in the good way sense of this country politically break apart. This duopoly that we have has to die. We cannot maintain our society with the planet burning up, the resources going away, everything getting poisoned, and the healthcare of the nation going in the toilet, i.e. pandemic and cancer and everything else. We can't. Enough is enough, and this shit's got to stop. So we need leaders like Kashama Sawant. I trust
Me too.
Kashama.
And there's not very
Yeah.
many I do.
No, and there's not very many I do. And I again, there's some ones out there that are talking the good talk, but how many of those have really walked the good walk all the way to the end of the road?
Bingo. Pat, the Batman fan, you're cracking me up. Stop. Says AOC stands for already overcharged.
Yeah. You know what I think I was going to say? AOC's she's listening to those fucking Washington consultants.
No.
She's
Those
listening
damn
to
consultants. They screw us every time.
Yeah, well, they're con artists. That's their job, right?
They gotta, but she's on such the national stage that, of course, that was inevitable. I mean, to what degree can she stay grounded is the real question, I think.
That's a good point, but I think there's
With
a
folks
balance.
like that.
I think there's truly a balanced approach to that, because
Sure.
I would like to think that if somebody of my character, of my nature, got into that position, that I would understand, in order to promote the issues, the message, the populist message, that I would have to have a balance, because it goes back to reading the room and how the states are. What's the hot button points that are going to get those people out of their rabbit hole and out into reality? I just think that we need more people of vigor who are going to stand up for the policies that they have and not fall into the trap of the establishments after you. It's a thankless job, and I'm sure you would agree, both of you, to become a politician, to run for office. I've thought about it before. My dad thought about it. My whole family, on my father's side, they had something. I had Supreme Court justice for an uncle. I mean, and they even made a movie about him. I'll tell you about that sometime. You're not going to like it. So
right. As many of you know, I've worked at the lowest levels, the base levels, grassroots. I've helped get, city council elected. I've helped get judges elected. I've charter review. Washington State has 7 charter review counties, which means we can take change directly to the voters. So I helped with that. And I have seen, everyday people, when they make the decision to run, they take into account some things, but I don't think they take into account everything. And I don't think it's possible to until you're thrown into the middle of it. AOC, I'm sure, has been thrown into things that she never in her wildest dreams thought that she would have to deal with. But if you're going to step forward for the people, you got to stay with the people. And this bowing that we see so many of our elected progressives, I helped to get Pramila elected. So for me to give pushback on Pramila, it's because I've earned that right to push back on her, because I've knocked on doors for her. I've campaigned, I've phone banked, I've done so many things to get these people elected. And then when they take our issues and our values, the things that we're fighting for, and they put them to a back burner to promote their career or to keep a seat on a committee, or, I feel betrayed. I feel like, okay, they're not really there to fight for us. And so we just got to keep the pressure on them, when they get there.
Well, especially folks like that who are actually supposedly for the people. I like Pramila, and so I don't have the pushback. I'm not as knowledgeable about her as you are, of course, but we definitely. So when it's hypocritical like that, it hurts extra hard,
right?
As opposed to as somebody who just isn't for the people anyway. If they're just about the lobbies and the dollars, I wouldn't expect much from them, but it's extra hard.
When they vote to give Trump a bloated military budget, when they vote to pass one of these acts that's ripping off the everyday people, and then they go and they shame the Republicans, like, oh, look, you guys are so terrible and the people are in need right now. But what the hell did they fight for?
So did Jack Paul voted for that? I mean, so she didn't vote for it, but she didn't fight hard enough, you're saying?
Yeah. Why aren't they out on the floor calling these things out? Why aren't they in the media calling these things out? Now is the time for the populist message of the people. I mean, come on, we've seen it since 2016. Overwhelming majority wanted Bernie. Bernie would have won both times if they wouldn't have rigged the elections, the primaries, both times on him. So I've been on the ground from coast to coast twice in the last 3 years. I know the energy is there. And it just is so disappointing when these elected officials, these elected progressives that we've worked so hard to get elected in the last 4 years, don't take the ball and run with it. because we set them up for the perfect shot and then they just drop the ball.
Let me ask both of you guys a question. Let's say you were both in the house, and
we are
the henchmen of the house, those who the lobbyists inside the Congress itself, the team players come up to you and say, if you don't vote this way on this bill, we are going to ruin you. You are never going to be able to bring anything forward. Ever. So you either do this or your history. How are you going to respond to that? I know how I'm going to respond.
I know how I respond because I live transparent.
Or that's Nancy, or who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Nancy, the own lobbyists like Nancy Pelosi and the rest. Nancy doesn't have to say that. She's got her minions that go around and do that. So how are you going to answer that question?
Well, we've seen pushback from the squad or whoever in the beginning, and it's really easy for me to say I would stand up to her. It's easier said than done. So it's who knows what kind of sacrifices I would have had to make along the way to get to that point. It's what do you say, Chanda?
I just want one. I just want one that never backs down, that's always there for the fight. I thought it was Tulsi for the longest time. I honestly did, but then she sure let us down on a lot of different things.
I'm going to hold you to task on my question. So what would you say?
I would say I've lived transparent. I came into this transparent, so I don't know what the hell you think you can ruin me with. Bring it, bitch. That's just me.
No, that's what we love about you, Chanda.
But Oz, you're saying is, what if it's not she's gonna blackmail you or with some sort of dirt? You just won't be able to be productive ever.
No,
so it'll be a short-termer.
They'll
blackball
people against you, like they are. They are running somebody against AOC.
You.
Come on, the Republicans or the Dems are behind that Republican. They're trying to primary.
Yeah, and so my point is, I'm trying to make a logical defense to a point of what AOC possibly is doing, or the squad, or those who were not.
She's playing 6D chess.
Well, yeah, 6D chess, but I'm not going to credit her with that yet. But they're in it for the long game. Now, at what point are you playing that long game? Do you bend the knee and concede? That's my thing. Now, what I would tell them, I would say fine. On this vote, I will do this. But I would say to them at the same time.
It depends upon the vote.
Well, no, okay, let's do a generic one that's not going to get thousands of people killed. Okay, something that's going to enrich the corporate oligarch even more. I tell them, okay, on this one, I'm going to play ball. But I want some concessions. It's always a negotiation in our government. Yeah. It's always a damn negotiation. So when you get in there, like AOC did, taking out one of their top henchmen, she had some power there, and she used it for months. But somebody got to her just before Bernie bent his knee, okay? And I'm thinking, Chanda, what was it, about 2 or 3 months or 2 months before? Because she wouldn't go out and stump for Bernie, I think, in February.
Yeah, we knew in the
something happened right there. So her negotiating came at an impasse at that point. So she had to set on a different path at that point. I'm just saying we need people to go in there, not all high and mighty on populist issues, but with a plan, a strategy. And this is what I propose to all activists on the ground. Don't sit down here from our ivory tower and bitch and cuss and Trump bad, or God, you're a fucker. We know all this. Let's hear some strategy. Let's have a goal-setting, planning meeting to go in. Whatever you're going to go, are you going to run for office like many of our progressives are doing in Washington? Well, damn it, let's have the plan before you even commit. And I know we had this conversation the other night. You have got to make a decision to run for office months in advance to be actually prepared to go, unless you're one of those rare few who have been thinking about this for years and have already formulated a possibly winning strategy. I'm monologuing, but you guys get what I'm saying. We're not seeing that. We are not seeing that. We're not seeing that enough, but we can do it if we get on it right now. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree with you. You know, I've helped hundreds of candidates over the last 4 years, and you're right. You better know your district. You better know your voters. You better know the issues in that district or for that area. Yeah, you can't just like, oh, I'm going to run next week. And you better know what's in your closet because they're going to know. You know, that's one of the number one things the Dems will do is they vet the crap out of you, and then they come at you with anything in your past and throw it on you. That's why I live so transparent, because, you know, I am a human being. I have a past. I've made bad decisions in the past, but I cannot be involved in politics on the ground or grassroots if I don't put it out there as these were my flaws. These were my faults. Go ahead and come at me because I don't hide anything. I just got to say hi, Jilly. I see you. And, Schultze, hello guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Just remember, Chanda, never say never. Anybody who's watching this show tonight, who's in this group, Nate, Chanda, myself, never say never about running for some sort of public office or becoming a leader in some movement or supporting candidates. Never say never, because
support candidates.
It's going to happen. We already are. A lot of us are doing it. We're supporting the candidates by being here tonight. Nate, say something on this. Disagree with me or add some context.
I've certainly thought about running myself, and you know, we need more people who aren't so hesitant, I guess. But something I was going to talk about earlier is that I've got a history in media, and so I'm a real critic of, you know, you talk about the media being bought and sold and stuff like that, and it's. I wish it. Well, I don't wish it were that simple. But there's a lot of gray area where there's a lot of room for laziness as well when it comes to journalism and media ownership and publishing, and as well as representation from elected office as well. So I think it's time to do work, whatever your specialty is. It's time to do that. Yeah,
we need to break the access media model that they're using right now. It's all about access to popular, high profile officials, everything. It's all about, we need to break that. We need to break that. And this is why I'm so adamant about citizens journalists. That's where I'm at so much.
We are the media.
We are the media.
You know, guys, please hit that like button, and, you know, you'll find the links to donate to Uphill Media. You know, give to your favorite independent media. These are labors of love for us. We don't have big studios. We're spending our own money to set these things up, to get these shows out. We're spending all of our time producing these shows. So, you know, we need you guys just as much as you need us. We're going to roll into another clip. We got a couple more clips. This one I want to set up. It's called The Liberal Redneck, Busloads of Antifa. And I'm sure some of you might know The Liberal Redneck. He's a comedian out of the South, incredibly funny. And okay, so a couple of weeks, last Wednesday, I've talked about it a couple times. We had this bus of campers that came across the state to come camp in my area. A local gun shop owner heard Trump talking about how Antifa was going to take over rural areas. And early in the day, he had put a call out for all patriots to protect our county. And these poor people it was the wrong place at the wrong time. They collided in the intersection of stupidity with these Trumpers, and they surrounded them in a campground in Forks. They cut down trees and would not let them leave the campground. Well, video today was released from our local thriftway or store in Forks, which is tiny. And you can see these people accost them. They surround them in their vehicles. They're, you know, like, coming to the rescue of rednecks. You know, I don't even know, but we know that there's no buses of Antifa, and so does most of the country. And so I'm going to let the liberal redneck tell you about it.
God, I wish I had his hair.
Hey, y'all, I just wanted to comment on a rumor that's spreading like wildfire across small town America right now, and that's that Antifa is deploying busloads of liberal provocateurs from all the big cities on the coast to infiltrate rural America and wreak havoc. And I just felt, as somebody who's kind of done the exact opposite of that, I was in a position to comment on it. First of all, rural America, Antifa's not real, not really. It's just the latest in the long line of fictional boogeyman Yuns create whole cloth out of thin air to help yourselves maintain the vital balance of fear and anger upon which you thrive. They're just like the transgender toilet monsters or the big government rifle snatchers of years past. They're not really a thing. But let's just say that when you say Antifa, you mean like big city, coastal liberals. They're coming to your town to fuck with y'all. Let me tell you something, rural America. Coastal liberals wouldn't come to where you live if the ghost of Karl Marx offered to pay them in aborted fetuses, okay? They're not coming there for nothing. Ever. Ever. What are they going to do there? What, they come there to loot? What are they going to loot? The co-op? The Blizzard machine at the Dairy Queen? Those aren't vegan friendly. What would they want with them? They're going to riot? How are they going to maintain the strength to riot when they all survive off of wheatgrass and pretension? Huh? They coming to spread their message to y'all? They don't know how to talk to y'all. Why do you think I have a career? It ain't the jokes. And how are they gonna get there? Buses, right? Big fleet of liberal buses. How you think they've got the time and resources to find that many fully electric buses and paint them rainbow colors? Come on. Nothing about it makes any fucking sense at all. Here's my point. You cannot keep talking out of both sides of your mouth where coastal liberals are concerned. You cannot, on the one hand, act like we are all a bunch of spineless, ineffectual, overly sensitive soy boys, and at the same time, we are somehow a cabal of special forces shadow queers. It don't make any sense. To say nothing of how it makes y'all look when you buy into bullshit like this. Don't you know what it makes you look like when you share these rumors around? It makes it look like you're scared. Like you're afraid of coastal liberals coming to your town. And I know that can't be it, right? You would never admit that you're afraid of liberals. Imagine your papa shaking his head at you in disappointment from the bowels of hell. No, that can't be it, because you ain't worried about it, right? If they do show up, you'll take care of it, right? You whoop everybody's ass, shoot everybody's dog. You big, tough, and dumb, and you got guns, let the liberals show up, see what happens, right? You'll take care of it, nothing to worry about, right? Okay, then shut the fuck up about it. Jesus. Hey, y'all, I just wanted to comment on a rumor.
That was pretty funny. What do you guys think?
That reminded me that I was going to come on today because neither of you had ever seen me live. And so I was going to come on today. You can't really see it, but I shaved down. Got a little
I knew
handlebar
you
here.
had from your pictures.
And I was going to bring my walking stick here that had an eagle on it. And I was going to, I don't know, I was going to do a character or something, but.
What, Dr. Doolittle? Didn't he?
Yeah, he's funny and accurate. What's that, us?
Didn't Dr. Doolittle have a? Oh no, that was who had the cane or the umbrella with the bird on the end of it that talked to him? Was that Dr. Doolittle?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think so. I'll have to. I'm pop culture again. What's your stick there, Nate? What is your?
It's the walking stick.
No, I mean, what's your stick though? You were going to do You said you were going to do.
Oh, my shtick.
Yeah, your shtick.
Oh, just do a bad accent and
Bad accent.
Talk about some literature that you didn't want me to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I won't talk about my friend's book though. My friend Lisa Penapento is a poet, and that's not really. I don't know what I'm like. You have a camera to zoom in on.
No, that's good. No. We like book
PR.
suggestions. Believe me, where I come from, the fish have souls, and you have. And how is it? How's the read?
I haven't read it yet. She just sent it to me, but she's a poet, and I've loved her stuff in the past. Recommended.
I tell you, I got that Ralph Nader's book last year about the rats.
I do too. I got it signed. I got an autograph.
Yeah, I mean, God, he's a hard read. He is hard. He's a hard read. He really
that
is.
was his attempt at comedy.
Yeah, his attempt at comedy, but it's more realism in there because he associated DC with basically a sewer infested with rats.
Yeah, it's hilarious when Nancy goes to sit down on the toilet and there's a rat in her toilet.
It's like
hilarious.
Really, Ralph? Ugh, I've got horrible
visuals.
visuals.
The Rats Take Congress.
Yeah.
And then he just dropped another book last Christmas, this previous Christmas, called Fake President. And it's about Trump. And it's pretty good too. You know, Nader is Nader.
Yeah, well, no, Nader and the Raiders back when I was a kid, that's my dad was screaming about how great that guy is. It was and is today still. I think he's been one of the most longtime advocates for the people ever. I can't think of too many other people. So, speaking,
I can't either. I can't too. He's in there with Shama for me.
Yeah.
Like,
speaking. Before I forget again, speaking of books, you have somebody coming on Sunday on the Accidental Activist.
I do. I have Joy Mann. We're going to do a Savage Savage Brunch. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna intro her new show that's coming up on Uphill this next week, right? We
Yeah,
launch on
I think
Monday.
it's Monday. Monday premieres Savage Joy.
Monday.
The Unruly Hour. That sounds pretty scary to me, man.
Ooh, we're gonna do an unruly brunch. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call Sunday's show, the Unruly Brunch.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. You know what? You're right, Jilly. Jilly. The rural areas are places where stupid people are ridiculous. Readiness. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I live in
Okay,
one.
so I was gonna let you finish.
No, I live in one. I mean, Lewis
I
County.
know, me too.
Ugh.
That's
Yeah.
the stupidity every day. I can't go to the store without being surrounded by 5 Trump trucks. You know, I got punched in the Wendy's drive-through 2 years ago by a Trump supporter because I had a Bernie sticker on the back of my car. They caught him because I took a picture of his car, but yeah, he had to bail out in due time. So yes, I am
What?
You got
seriously
punched?
surrounded by Trump supporters
You got
up here
punched.
on the peninsula.
You got
Punched in the face through my window at the ordering thing.
Well, yeah, I had a vision of the person that was taking your order punching you in the face and then giving you your
it
burger.
was a Trump supporter.
It was a
that
Trump supporter. I was going to say that's really bad if the person giving you your food's punching you in the face.
Right. And the thing was, this guy was like, and I'm not even kidding, was like 6'5", 300 pounds. He was a big dude, a big fucking dude. And the next day, because they caught him and they took him to jail, of course, I had to go to his arraignment that morning because I was serious. Who punches a stranger, let alone a fucking woman? You know, like, okay, if he's doing that to me, he's willing to do that to the women in his houses too.
Oh,
absolutely. You know,
absolutely.
I lived domestic violence for 36 years. I recognize it really fucking quick nowadays. And so I went to court and it was very intimidating to have to go in there and face him down the very next morning. But I did it.
So did he get?
Wow.
Did he,
I've lived it at
go ahead.
more on the other side of that. I've been closer to a 350-pound man the whole time. So I'm wondering, did he get his food, or was he after you and he bailed, or what was?
No, he bailed. He never even got his food, and
Wow,
the cops
that's
were
the
chasing
part.
him down.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's committed. That's
Yeah,
commitment.
he was committed, but you know, this is a small town. Squim and
Actually,
Port
the
Angeles
hitting-
are small.
Hitting the woman is actually worse. I'm sorry.
Right. So he immediately was tracked down, identified. He had a landscaping business, but because I'm so well known in this community, man, people went on his stuff and just gave him terrible reviews. He had to take all his business pages down. And, you know, he got a taste of internet revenge, I guess. I didn't have anything to do with it. Of course, I wouldn't. But
I can't see you
community
doxing
did.
anybody. So
You had to at least.
Right, I didn't dox
testify.
him, but he got doxed because of what
Yeah.
he did. So yeah.
So what
You had to
what
at
did
least
the
testify?
Yeah,
and
what did the
say
court
That's the guy that punched me, right?
He took a plea agreement, but I told the prosecuting attorney the only stipulation I had was he has to do some kind of anger management treatment for at least a year. And so that was a part of his plea deal.
Wow.
That's nice of you.
Well, he needed it, obviously.
Well, I would have
a total stranger.
Unfortunately, I'm a little bit more ruthless than that. I would have wanted, an anger management course, and then I get to punch him in the face one time. So that's it. Just
Damn, I would have got out of line and let you get your burger first, dude. Like,
Yeah, no
why you
kidding.
gonna punch me?
yeah.
As I will say, your ears are looking cute tonight.
I know,
Thank
that's
you.
what I said.
Yeah.
I go, did you get a haircut? And then I
No,
realized
not
you
those
didn't.
ears. Not those ears.
Oh, his puppy ears. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
he's
his
got little
puppy
canine ears.
His puppy ears.
Yeah. Speaking of ears, I'm going to really unveil some ears tomorrow. I. Do you want to roll into this?
Yeah. Okay. So what are we at now? We are at. Oh, we're going to talk about some environmental stuff going on in light of COVID and protests and whatever fucking dumpster fires we've been dealing with this year. We haven't been paying attention to the fact that the environment is going fucking haywire. And so in the last 3 days alone, we have seen record rainfalls dropping on China. South China is underwater. I'm hearing some places as high as 4 feet of water, standing water in these cities, but at least up to, your wheel wells on your cars. So if you want to play the China is flooding, take a look at what's going on over there.
Is that a siren from China?
That might be me.
The strongest downpour
Yeah, it's
this
not
year
me.
has hit most parts of South China, affecting over 2.6 million people in 11 provinces.
Over 2.6 million people have been affected by heavy rain, and as many as 20,000 people have been evacuated so far.
villages underwater, houses destroyed, children and the elderly trapped.
The flooding has also led to a collapse of more than 1,000 houses. Property damage has been estimated at over $56 million.
Wow. Wow. That's brutal. That is brutal.
Tell me what your family thinks about this, Oz. Oz, you have family in
Well, yeah, actually,
through marriage.
Yeah, I'm through my wife's family, Guangzhou, China, which is Canton. You know, people in this country are familiar with Canton. She was talking to a very good friend the other night, and they said it has been raining nonstop for 3 days, and some cars were underwater. I mean, it's standing water everywhere. It's so bad. And then, of course, that Canton region, you know, this time of year can range anywhere from 75 to 90 degrees. So you have that kind of water on top of the heat that follows it or comes in between. It's just horrendous. So,
and what about COVID? I mean, okay, so now you're dealing with rain, you're dealing with standing water, you're dealing with heat, and you're still trying to protect yourself from COVID, because we're still hearing that COVID's still moving through China, right?
Yeah, it's that's the other thing. At what point does the COVID virus break down? Do you know, Nate, by any chance?
Good question.
We don't know that as a people. I don't think.
Well, I
don't think we know.
They haven't hit that milestone where they can say, it gets a certain temperature and it kills the virus.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah.
So this next clip we're going to move into is a similar clip. I get these clips from a kid named Chad Sinclair. He's got a great channel, and this kid is always, I mean, if you want breaking news, he's on top of it before everybody else. He has clips that I never see from anybody, so check him out. And this one is Norway sinking. Apparently there was a huge landslide on the northeastern tip of Norway 2 days ago, and a big chunk of it fell in and just disappeared.
I like his fair use disclaimer. That's pretty cool with the little
he's a
skulls
good kid.
there. There goes the house. There goes the homestead.
Det var som sagt 8 boliger som har forsvunnet på sjøen.
Holy smokes.
650 meter, og deler av raset er nesten 140.
That's not me.
Veldig mye masse som har gått på havet her nå.
That's incredible. This reminds me of being in Seattle.
Yeah, Oso, right?
Yeah, the Oso.
What's that?
Oso landslide?
The landslide, Oso, yeah. That had shades of tsunami.
No, it reminds me of Seattle. A lot of Seattle is built on fill land.
Yeah.
And so if there's a big earthquake, it's just going to liquefy and go out to the sound.
Yeah, if the big one hits in Washington State, like it's predicted, we're past due for it. And if you understand how our plates are working out here off of the Juan de Fuca plate, it's like a spring that's been pulled back and cocked, and it's ready to go at any time. And when it goes, most of this side of Washington, Western Washington, will be micro islands. I have sat through hours and hours of emergency planning meetings in Olympia and in Clallam County, because they say Clallam County, where I live up here, we will become an island, and really nobody will be able to reach us because we have the Hood Canal Bridge that you have to cross in order to get to us. And we are much like Seattle. We're built on fill. It's all shell and just old shit from the turn of the century, last century. And we're ready. I mean, it's coming. It should have hit a long time ago from what they say.
Well, now
we're overdue.
What's the name of that fault line that runs under Washington State? Is it Columbia?
There's a few. There's a couple different plates.
The one they found out in 2004, it makes the San Andreas look like a tea party, I heard.
The Cascadia fault?
The Cascadia fault line. Yeah, if that goes, it's not going to just be a little chunk. It's going to be everything west of the I-5 freeway for miles and miles and miles and miles.
Liquefaction is what they call it. And if you want to know up-to-the-date information on this, there's a great group called Seismic Northwest that is led by John Vidal, who is he was the head of the University of Washington Seismic Lab. I'm personal friends with them. Anytime the earth quakes up here, everybody freaks out and thinks that this is the prequel to the big one. So I immediately, anytime we have an earthquake, look on his page, and he always says, "Oh, calm down. This is normal. This is just." He explains it to where it puts you at ease, and he so far has never been wrong.
Yeah, I was. It was about 11:15 at night when I saw the tsunami back in 2004, was it? That wiped out the power, the reactors in Fukushima and stuff. And by the way, Fukushima, everybody, a gift that keeps on giving. It's going to be our doom, just like these Superfund projects, like Hanford.
That's the real story. Has not gotten gotten appropriate coverage since it happened.
Yeah, I mean,
it's incredible.
Really?
Well, now they're dumping that dirt out in the sea and the water. Remember, they were collecting all that rainwater forever because they thought that it was contaminated. Now they're just like, well, fuck it, we're just going to dump it.
Yeah, what's with the fuck it? I mean, what's with that? I mean, our oceans are already dying daily, and we're just going to throw it in the ocean. I mean, really? Yeah. And they'd say, well, Oz, what the hell would you do with it? Well, I'd stick it up your ass to start with.
People like AOC say nuclear is on the table for the Green New Deal.
Yeah, that's an advisor's. What is that? What is the nuke that they're talking up that works? The cold.
Nuke is nuke to me. Is there something
there's
like
always
it's like clean coal? Is there a clean nuke that I don't know about?
That's another point. When Obama said that, I just about threw up. Clean coal, clean energy. Wow, bullshit. So anyway, we're going to do a bonus round tonight because if you don't mind, Chanda. Is that okay if we do the bonus?
No, I want to do the Kyle Kalinske clip.
Let's
do the Kyle. We're going to run late, guys. And the chat's hanging in there. So.
Yeah. I mean, and Nate, like you just said, Fukushima, nobody's paying attention to that. Well, some people are. But this crap, Venezuela, that the Fox News people are always, Venezuela. Now, the commentary I expect from both of you, I already know what you guys are going to say. But just let's run a minute or so or two of this clip. You guys are, this is not surprising coming from Fox. Where's the on button, Oz? Oh, okay, there you go.
Congressman who went on Fox Business Network, and I want you to take a look at the issue that he decided to focus on along with his colleagues. So this is what the Republicans in Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, this is what they're talking about. This is what they're focusing on in the midst of massive social unrest, in the midst of police brutality and a pandemic and an economic depression. Watch this.
Welcome back. You're watching the Fox Business Network. A major geopolitical fight now escalating. The Trump administration now moving to expand a push to stop oil and fuel trade between Iran and Venezuela. Now possibly getting ready even more sanctions and more pressure, this time against dozens of companies who own and run those tankers. Let's welcome Republican Mark Green of Homeland Security. Great to have you on again, sir.
Good guy.
This is ratcheting up. Your reaction?
Yeah, I think anything we can do to put pressure on the Maduro regime is a good thing for the people of Venezuela. It's the fastest way for them to get to freedom, and that means
freedom
relationship with Iran and Venezuela that's now sort of blossomed through the past several months. If we can put pressure on the transfer of oil from Iran to Venezuela, it's a win-win.
So
Yeah, it's a win-win.
What is the plan, though? What is the Trump administration plan? What is the Republicans' plan? Because 5 Iranian oil tankers arrived in Venezuela last week. Venezuela is facing severe fuel shortages, but they had no signs of any U.S. military interference to stop them. We've had General Jack Keane on saying we should have blockaded Venezuela. There are threats from the U.S. over the shipments, but nothing more than that right now. What's the plan?
Well, it sounds like they're going to put sanctions on those tankers and try to stop from an economic standpoint, at least at this point. We've not been told in Congress that there are plans to use force or to use any kind of a blockade, but certainly we're open if the president comes to us with that proposal.
Why? So should there be a blockade of Venezuela?
Again, I think what we've got to do is put maximum pressure on Venezuela.
What in the what?
You notice they got 5 through, though. When we had Al Suarez on 3 weeks ago, as many of you remember, he's a Venezuelan embassy protector. He was talking exactly about these tanks that were getting through, wasn't he, Oz?
Yeah, he was.
And to talk about more sanctions on either Iran or Venezuela we know that all sanctions do is hurt the most vulnerable among a population. So we're not attacking the elite of that country. We're not attacking the rich companies. The sanctions hurt the frickin' people, and they're already hurting enough because of us, because of our direct actions.
This is overt terrorism by an empire-building country, and what are we worried about in Venezuela dropping a nuke on us or invading us? Is that what we're worried about? What the hell?
We want their oil.
Come on.
Same reason we went to Afghanistan.
Come on, Nate. Give me some sanity, will you?
It's just, well, you're coming to the wrong place for that. But it's so many things. I think it's just it's being used as a distraction. Did either of you wonder why or notice the timing for the George Floyd unrest and the WHO, dropping out of the WHO?
Yeah.
Trump's arguments about Twitter, and with Twitter, the First Amendment.
You got a tinfoil hat back there somewhere,
and
Nate?
then, of course, just making observations. And then, of course, trampling on the First Amendment rights of those protesters with the whole Bill Barr AG on the street situation. The Attorney General was walking around on the street. Can you imagine that? Think about what is... and then also Trump talking about stop treating Hong Kong differently because of the financial relationship. And that's, of course, going to trickle down on the Hong Kong people
right,
in the worst way.
Well, you saw Trump, for all his huffing and puffing he's done about Huawei controlling 5G. Guess who's in control of 5G?
Oh, God.
Huawei. I mean, that's, yeah. Sleeping giant. I mean, watching China this century, which is already a fifth over, don't look now, but what this world is going to look like at the end of this century is going to be something to see.
Spent matchstick is what it's going to look like, a spent matchstick. And yeah, Nate, you bring up the point. Isn't it incredible? All these things are happening at once. Wow, what are the chances of that? Oh,
I mean, it's like there's a think tank of people who are just queuing up things.
Yeah,
right.
And then they do some sort of calculation. Oh, this one's big. Let's get 3 through right now. Let's just drop 3 right now.
Yeah.
Where's Rom? Where's Rom? We know it's Rom Emmanuel.
Yeah. Oh, my God in heaven. No, you're absolutely... It's like me trying to queue up the next video. That's how surreal it is. I mean, they have a stack, and they pick which stacks are going to play the best on any given day.
It's all written.
It's all written down, and this is no tinfoil hat
But I mean,
shit.
all the legislation is already all written also.
Yeah.
The attorneys
Right. They've got it all.
The attorneys have already written it all. Once they get their court, all the judges in the right courts or all the legislators in the right spots, they've got it turnkey. All that stuff's ready to go.
You're right. How many times have we seen legislation that rolls right out that you're like, how the fuck did they write that last night?
That's interesting. Now you hit a nerve with me, Nate. I got to tell you. Anybody here know why we went into Vietnam?
I mean,
you're not that old. You're not.
How
that
much
old.
time do we have?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it boils down to this. It was like peace, freedom, freedom. You heard that asshole from Fox right there saying, we got to get the people freedom. You know, these sanctions will get them closer to freedom than ever.
Freedom.
You know, we didn't go into Vietnam to stop the spread of communism. I'm sorry, anybody in the room that wants to argue the point. We went into Vietnam for their resources, to take their shit, to take their precious minerals, to take their rubber, to take everything from them, and that's what we've continued to do for ever since Vietnam and before, for that matter. But that's why we went into Vietnam, and my dad was a bird's eye witness to that. And what you said, they've already got this stuff written, legislation. He was at a Christmas party before we invaded Vietnam, and this was a party that my dad, of all people, shouldn't have gone to, because it was a bunch of corporate elites for, I think it was Goodyear Tire or one of those big outfits. And the tin reduction plant they wanted to put in there from Union Carbide Corporation. They were talking about how they had all the money already set up to invest in Vietnam after we went in and gave them their freedom. And, you know, this is how it works. You think I'm crazy?
It's a big game of the central banks. That's all it is. The central banks are like, okay, we want these resources.
Exactly.
We want these resources.
Yeah. Yeah, and with history is part of my evidence of how it's gone, you know. And I think Johnny Tsunami did a clip on Bobby Kennedy, the assassination, on the Convo couch. I think it was yesterday. And matter of fact, I gave him a super chat. But they were showing Bobby Kennedy was a populist, preaching populism to the people. Much of what the Bernie's platform has been for decades, but he was probably one of the closest persons to that, making it a reality ever. So what did they do to Bobby Kennedy?
Yeah, there's a great documentary on Netflix called Bobby something president, close to a president or something like that, but just go look it up. Just type in Bobby Kennedy, you'll find it.
They promoted that
excellent.
too. It was Bobby. And again, all this, like they said again today, Smedley Butler, war is a racket. All wars are they're just positioned to make the wealthy wealthier and give them more global control. Don't be naive, folks. You're not tinfoil hats. You're watching it happens. If it smells bad, it does stink, because it is bullshit.
Was it Eisenhower who brought up the military-industrial complex?
Yeah, beware the military-industrial complex. Absolutely. Eisenhower even knew it. Did anybody listen? No.
No, they never fucking listen.
No, it's about the money. It's why we've got garbage like Rick Larson and Derek Kilmer and Adam Smith in Washington State. And the only reason Adam Smith's got a tweener is because he's in a district that's a swing district, and he could lose that seat. These neoliberals in Washington State, I digress, but it's so important.
No, you don't.
Do not vote for the incumbents, period. I don't give a shit if it's a Republican. Especially don't vote for an incumbent Democrat. No way. In Washington State, they are all corporate tools, and I'll say it to their face, including Patty Murray and Maria Cantwell, because they've all voted for the Patriot Act. They voted through Bush and Trump's appointees and all the wall and everything else. These neoliberals, you know, with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi's blessing, have voted with the Trump administration forever. So I'm saying, go into the vote in November, vote out all incumbents. Just do it.
Yeah.
Vote out all incumbents.
And don't come to the fear. Don't succumb to the fucking fear. We need Biden to make things normal. We need the neoliberals to make things normal. No, we fucking don't. They haven't made things normal. They've made everything this way.
No,
they refuse to fight for the people. We have nobody fighting for the people, and that's the problem. We have Republican light and we have Republican. There's no other, label that's representing the everyday people of America. And you know what? We're about to get even more uncomfortable than we have ever been in our entire lifetimes. What's coming? You think 2020 has been bad? You ain't seen shit yet.
Oh boy, you sure haven't. And don't think you're gonna fucking go back to sleep. Say you get Joey in there. You are not gonna go back to sleep, because it's gonna get higher, deeper, and worse with everything that's going on. Fukushima included. Norway falling apart into the ocean, rising, all that stuff. So Anyway,
Well, you know what? We're gonna ride this till the fucking wheels come off, because what other choice do we have? You can't jump at this point.
no.
Right?
You just got to get in there. So why not go out swinging and try and stop some of this mayhem instead of being, just accomplice to watching it go by and not getting off your dead ass and doing something. So there you go. That's my thing. Sorry, Nate.
Well, we got a little riled up tonight. Nate's like, "Wow, you guys are stressing me out."
No. There's just so many thoughts that I don't think we have time for them. So
Yeah, we're already running late. We're about 10 minutes over schedule, and I'm getting the "hey, you're running late" look. So
the button I'll say anyway is that hopefully we're in Washington, so hopefully wherever we are, when it all slides out to the sea, we are on one of those. I learned about this stuff. Yeah, one of these micro islands.
I want to be on a micro island, but I'm only not even 10 miles from the Juan de Fuca, so unless I run my ass off, I'm dead. So I've already accepted it. So we're going to roll into our movie clip for the night. I don't always do movie clips, but when I saw this, it took me back to my youth. Bill and Ted are doing another movie. Many of you remember this is Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves. Keanu's actually back for the third installment, and it's called Bill and Ted Face the Music, and they have to write a song that unites all of humanity. So go ahead and enjoy the clip.
God, I thought this was a spoof. It's really a movie, huh?
It's really a movie.
25 years ago, you played a concert in front of the entire world. 1 month ago, you played in Barstow, California for 40 people, most of whom were there for $2 taco night. Bill and Ted, what have you got to say for yourselves?
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
You were supposed to unite the world and save reality as we know it.
Bill, we've spent our whole life trying to write the song that will unite the world. Why can't we just go to the future when we have written it?
Whoa! And take it from ourselves.
But isn't that stealing?
How is that stealing if we're stealing it from ourselves, dude?
No way!
How'd you like our song?
It's a little on the dark side, but that's cool.
Pat, you're right. Pat the Batman fan says yes, and George Carlin was Rufus in the original. Yes, we miss George Carlin. Of course, one of the most awake motherfuckers on the planet that ever lived. So.
Ever, I have to say. Just a little side note there. If Keanu face plants on this one, he's going to do a Matrix 4. I just found out. So
That's
there
right.
will be
Matrix
another
4 is in
Matrix.
the
So,
works.
he can recover from that. I think Neo's still got some juice left in him. He's 55 years old now?
God, he don't look it.
No.
He looks like he's 28.
Neo's got green
30.
juice. That's what Neo
That's
has.
what it is. It's the green juice, right?
The green juice.
Right.
Yeah, it's the green juice.
I'm going to let everybody get out of here. I'm going to thank my guys for checking in tonight. Oz and Nate, thank you for hanging out with me and having a great conversation.
Thanks for having
Sunday,
me.
I will have Joy on the show. I promise. We're not going to have a cancellation, and next week will be George. Any farewell thoughts, guys?
Nate?
Shout out to Osama number 5. I still like that screen name. And thanks for watching.
That's great.
Thanks for greeting. And I will also, Slint is a Louisville band. That's the lamest possible tribute for Breonna Taylor possible. That Louisville, also my mother's from Louisville, so.
Beautiful area. Beautiful area. I loved it.
Well, yeah, you better, don't plan on going to bed there, Chanda. I haven't even written tomorrow's daily dive, so you're going to have to do it tonight. I'm tired.
Okay, well, we get to produce another show before I go to bed. So, yes, you guys tune in with us tomorrow for the daily dive, 10 a.m. Oz, Rhonda, me, and whoever else of our friends comes on to chat.
Yeah, I hope I can get Amber on there, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, I hope so, too. Amber, we need you. So I got a great closing song for you guys. I think this is hilarious. It's a
Osama number 5?
No. Is he going to come on?
Good. No.
Okay, so this song is a funky jazz version of War Pigs, Black Sabbath. So you guys have a great night. We will see you tomorrow morning, and definitely tune in on Sunday. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Nice.
Thanks for having us.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields, the bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah. Darkness, world stops turning, ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On the knees, the war pigs crawling, begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah.